Hey everyone, it's Rebecca Ruth. Thanks for tuning in with us again this week. As always, let me introduce our team to you. We have Andrea Wright, our prez. What's up, Andrea?
Oh,
And then she's so like, hello.
say that every time. Let
And
the
then,
people
of
let me be
course,
great.
right, I'm gonna let you be. I'm gonna let you live. And then we have Devin Lyric, our VP. Hi, Devin.
Hello.
Hi, and then we have a special guest with us today. We have Mr. Ezra Jones, CEO of the thstate. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good, good. Thanks so much for joining us and for chatting with us a bit today.
It's my pleasure. You guys have already added joy to my life. So it's been fun.
Aw, that's
Love
sweet.
it, love it. So today we are talking about minding your business. And right, everyone's nodding their heads. They're like, okay, so where are we going with this one?
Right, right.
So
Right, right.
anybody want to tell us where we're going, what we mean by that when we say, are you minding your business?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I will jump in on that. Pretty much like a lot of people have this concept of like what business is or what they think business is. And people go through the actual action of sort of kind of like doing the business. But when it comes to the structure, do you have the paperwork? Do you have the contracts? Like, are you really like minding your business and looking at all aspects of the business and really, even if you've been in business 10 years, 20 years, however long it is, like always looking back and sort of kind of saying like what works and what doesn't and reevaluating. I think a lot of people don't reevaluate, and some people are out here, having a business in the sense of doing business, but when it comes to the paperwork and the structure, maybe not so much. And so they don't really have a business, but because they're doing business, so to speak, they think they have a business. And I'm like, well, according to the IRS,
Right.
maybe you don't.
Maybe not.
We're going there. That according to
No,
the
right?
IRS.
Yeah. I think that's good though. I
That
think
is
that's
good.
good, really, especially to start off because I agree. I think we're in a time now where everybody is like, ooh, let's be entrepreneurs. And everybody is like glorifying being an entrepreneur. So
Right.
you're starting 50,000 things and you don't have the first thing legalized. You
Mhm.
are out here probably using other people's name because you haven't ran it through the system to see like if this name
Right.
been something for you to use that you can use, like, and you don't really have like the structure, like Ezra said, behind it. It takes a lot to start a business, like the planning
100%.
behind it. Like, I, with me specifically, I didn't just wake up one day and was like, yeah, like I'm going to start a business and just started it. Like, I planned on everything that I did literally years before I even launched. Not to say that it takes everybody like that long, but I'm a planner, so I had to have structure. Like, I had to have structure, but a lot of people don't, and I think it's because the glorification that everybody gives of being an entrepreneur is like they're nobody's teaching you the ins and outs of it. So you feel like just because you say I have a business, that's what they think. Like you said, they're doing the business, so they feel like they have a business, and it's not legitimate.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I think people are really within the fantasy of being an entrepreneur, like you said. It's like, we're leaving the 9 to 5, and the thing to do now is to start a business. And you spoke on the back end on the legal side, but also, they just want to do what it is that they want to do. They just want to do photography. They want to, sing, whatever it is that you want to do within business. But what happens if there's an error? What happens when you bring somebody on to help? What happens if you collaborate? You don't know the first thing about filing your taxes each month or quarterly, however you have it set up. So
Mhm.
it's just really people are operating within the fantasy. I'm getting up and I'm doing business today.
Yeah.
You have no, like Ezra was saying, like structure behind in any case scenario. What happens when this happens? They're
Yeah.
just doing business.
That's it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
they
That's just
think they are. They
quote
think they
unquote.
are. They think they're doing business. I think what I'm hearing like everyone say, which is really like important point. First of all, there the glorification on. I love that you use that word glorification, Andrea, because at the end of the day, there's nothing glamorous about being an entrepreneur. Let me say that first
Right.
and foremost. Okay,
On it. Yeah.
and and
I will keep my
also
hair
you may be leaving a 9 to 5, because I was talking to Ezra earlier, and I was like, I don't like people telling me what to do. So there's that. So you may be leaving a 9 to 5, but then you're doing like a 6 to 12, or whatever, 6 a.m. to 12, because yes, it's different because you're putting in hours for yourself, for your own business and stuff. But don't think that because you left the 9 to 5 structure, it means that you're just going to get up and work 2 hours a day and then play golf. I mean, eventually get to that point, but like it's not like that. So we're not going to sugarcoat things for you either.
No, it's hard work behind the startup of it. It is hard. I mean, I feel like around the clock. Like sometimes, and I've said this on one of our recordings before, sometimes like it's hard for me to pull myself away because in this age, we always have our phones. So my phone is always in my hand, and I'm also a content creator. So a lot of the times I'm on Canva or on other sites and I'm creating content, and I'm like, Andrea, like you're supposed to be chilling. Like I went to the beach the other weekend and I was like, I'm relaxing today. I'm not doing anything. I'm laid out on the beach creating content. Like, like it's work. Like sometimes you don't know how to pull yourself away from it. And that's the startup of it. I'm not where like I want to be yet within business. And I'm not at a place where I'm making money in my sleep. I'm transparent about that. I'm not there yet. So at the startup of it, everything in your mind is business. Like every picture I take, every trip I go on, I'm like, ooh, I can do a TikTok for this. Ooh, I can make an Instagram reel for this. Ooh, with this, I can do this. Everything in my mind is content to get my business out there. But a lot of people, because they just glamorize it, it's just like, oh yeah, like, I'm a model, so I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna post these pictures, I'm gonna do this, and that's it. Like it's gonna come to me. And it's like, no, baby, like, do you know how to show up for these like calls, like these like casting calls? Like, do you know what's required of you to be a model? Do you know what's required of you to get into the field that you're already self-proclaiming to be in, which is fine. I love where you are. I love that you're a visionary. However, like it's steps to take. And so it's kind of sometimes like a smack in the face to the people who are really doing this behind the scenes, because it's like, no, I'm really working. And like, y'all just showed up on Tuesday saying that this is your lifestyle. And it's like,
so I have a question for you all. Do you all think that it's because we're in a day and age, right, where it has been shown to be easy to become a millionaire, to start a business, to have all this financial freedom? A lot of younger people now are taking trips. They're doing things that generations before us were not doing on a regular. So do you all think that it's something with how today's climate is with business entrepreneur getting out there, social media, that creates all these fantasies that everybody wants to just kind of jump into?
I mean, for sure. I was gonna say something like, and I'll let Ezra answer like specific to like, the model, because I mean he's an agency, so he can speak specific to that. But to answer your question, Devin, for sure. Like I think first of all, I think it is nowadays a lot easier to start a business. Like, every other person I know has started a business. So it's much easier. People are starting this much younger. It's just more accessible. So not downplaying us entrepreneurs and stuff, but it is much easier to start a business now. And then social media, definitely, social media is a huge part of it. Huge. First of all, some people are becoming big just off of social media. If that's your goal, like, TikTok, YouTube stars, like that's all social media. But like at the same time, also, yes, social media definitely is part of the fantasy, of course, because people are putting things on social media to create this fantasy. Now, some people are legitimately living that life, but I will tell you, honestly, a lot of the people who we know are legitimately living that life are not posting it. Right? They're not posting themselves out on the golf course and like sipping Mai Tais and stuff. They're not doing that, because you want to know what? Because they're working. And then that's like their private stuff. So that's kind of, for me, I'm like, not saying that people who are constantly posting that aren't living. I don't know them personally, so I don't know. But I do know that the people who legitimately are living their life are not posting about it all the time.
Right.
But like, yeah, like the model, the agency part and all of that, like I think, you know, Ezra, you're probably the better person to talk about that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about like a little bit of both of what you just mentioned, because like you brought up so many valid points. It is like, because I do remember when it, you know, I was in the beginning stage, and I mean, I'm a really blessed person, so I was able to start off like working with celebrities and things like that, and during that time period, like I was literally working a 9 to 5 job, working at a children's store retailer, working with the husband of Jordan Sparks, and having my district manager talk to me all sorts of kind of really crazy. And that was the day that I was like, you know, like I had an epiphany moment, because the district manager was talking to me so crazy, and it was a new district manager that had just, you know, been brought into our company. So they didn't know, you know, much about the company, and they were trying to explain and express to me basically how I was the center of every problem that could ever exist. I'm like, okay, look, stop like reflecting it towards me personally. Say the store, the team, you know, whatever, but this isn't a personal reflection on me, because anyone that knows that, you know, I would never leave the store in this condition. I walked into this myself. Unlike you, I don't get to point fingers and be like, you know, wrong, wrong, wrong. I actually have to go and fix the problem because it's my store. So I don't get to just point fingers. And, you know, she kept on directing it personally towards me as a personal attack. And I realized that I was getting to the point of getting frustrated and about to come out of my personal character. And I said, wait a minute. I just had this epiphany moment. I'm about to come out of my character over baby clothes. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, we sell baby clothes. And at the end of the day, like, I'm about to like really go ham and cut this lady out over some baby clothes. So I had the epiphany moment before ever getting there. And I said, you know what? Here's the keys. You know, if I'm the problem, basically, when I leave, all of these, you know, problems will dissipate and go away. And of course, they got worse. I was like, oh, I wasn't the problem after all. You know, I was the mainstay trying to keep things from getting worse. And so in that, I learned the lesson of like, there is a lot of work that I was doing behind the scenes, and she had no idea that I was communicating with, you know, the husband of Jordan Sparks and things like that. And it's like I wasn't posting, oh, I'm doing this, da da da. And a lot of that is, you know, privacy for, you know, obviously when you're dealing with celebrities, because I was like in the grind and in the work, and I didn't go around and be like, this is what I'm working on, guys. You know, I didn't do that either. You know, because
this is me,
right, because I was just busy doing the work. I didn't have time for that, you know. So and I do think that even in the terms of like modeling, a lot of models, specifically when they're new faces, you can always tell people who are hungry and want it whether or not they've actually done the research, because people don't do any amount of research. They come into the inbox and they're like, make me a model, not knowing what that means or any of the steps or the process, or even, you know, simple things like, hi, my name is, you know, it's like, I don't know you.
The introduction, like, okay, make me a model. Okay, yeah.
Right. And they'll even ask, you know, they're doing it from social media, and then they're doing it, and then of course I go to their profile and then it's private, because that makes so much sense. It's like
all the things in the world. You're a model.
Right.
I can't see any of
Right. I was like, I can't even see what you look like. So and so it's just the craziest thing. But I do believe that there's this world of there's a lot of reasons of why it's, you know, obviously a lot more accessible, because we didn't have technology quite like we did back in the golden days or whatever. But now there's this new technology, and so people think it's just like a flick of a wrist, and forgetting the fact of there's still hard work and there's still a work ethic involved, and whether or not you're successful. And at the end of the day, like, social media is just a tool. It's, you know, definitely helpful and beneficial. It definitely makes things easier if you use it, but there's still work that's involved. And, you know, there's this trend of like sort of kind of education of, I'm just going to take a course, right? And you could take, 1,000 courses, but if you never apply a single one, it's never beneficial.
It's for naught.
Yeah,
It's
so it's like
for naught. Yes, and that's what people do. I feel like so often, especially because like it was a point in time where everybody like was becoming certified in something, and I
right,
was just like, what is going on? Like everybody just decided at the same time that they want to get certifications. Like this is crazy, but it's because social media, like obviously now like it's so strategic behind everything, but social media pushes what you look up on a daily basis. And so if you're
right,
googling stuff about wanting to become certified, you're gonna see it on Instagram, you're gonna see it on your Facebook, you're gonna see it on any platform that you use. But it's like it's the work. Like I can't help but to go back to what you're saying with the work behind it. Like even though the district manager was talking to you crazy, which was crazy to begin with, but I can't even get on a tangent about 9 to 5s because we'll be here for 5 hours. Like it's just no point. They just don't know how to treat people. But it's also like in the social media world, people think the same thing. They can come into your inbox, they can say whatever, like, oh yeah, you're a stylist, so can you do this? And a lot of people want you to do stuff for free. Can we please talk about it? A lot of people
right.
want to slide in something. So I don't know if they like DM'd you like make me a model and thought that it was gonna be like $3 to start.
Yes.
But that's all the
Yes.
content they have. Like, oh, can you style me? Oh, can you do admin for me? And I'm like, yeah, here's my prices, and it's crickets. Like, what do you
Right.
think it was? Or oh, here's my contract. That let's get it. Here's my contract. You want to do this with me? Sign this contract. This is what we do, and this is what it's going to be moving forward. Crickets. How you want to be involved in something and you want to sign contracts? You're not covering yourself as a person. Like you're not covering your business, but it's because nobody's transparent enough to talk about this. Like on any platform, really. Everybody makes it seem like they became a millionaire overnight. And then you
Right.
hear their stories when they do get to the position that they're in, where they can take a step back because now they have assistants in place. They have like other business owners running their stuff for them to where they are just collecting this check because what they were doing behind the scenes. And then it's like, oh yeah, now I'm going to let you know that I moved to California with $200 in my pocket. And then this is what happened. But you're not telling me about the grind that you
Right.
did throughout that entire time. So I love that you shared, your transparency on it of like, it's a fact that you were, blessed, like you were able to start off like working with celebrities. And that's amazing because of course, everybody doesn't have the opportunity, but you spoke on that. So like people don't do that. They'll make it seem like I can just go out here, or Devin or Rebecca or anybody can just go out here. And it was just like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get a celebrity client just like that. That's not how everybody's cards are dealt. So it's like be transparent behind the business as well, because not, a lot of people aren't doing that. And I think with social media and them amping the influencer, because I said before, like you have influencers now that are sitting front row at fashion shows amongst people who have went to school for this, who have like studied this.
Or
And so
among
they're
people who
like,
are like legends in the industry, like Anna Wintour, who's like, this is
Right.
right,
right.
like whole legends, and you're not there. You're not front row because you're not pushing it to people on social media to buy this stuff or to do whatever. It's I really feel like it's getting really money driven. Like it's really getting like money driven, and that's all that's in people's forefront is the dollar sign. And so it's like, okay, you went to school, you paid your money, that's fine. You still don't get the right to be front row. Like this person is going to push my brand, so they're going to be front row because I want money at the end of the day. So I think it's a lot of gems in this conversation. I like this.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like, because we were talking about this, it's about longevity, right? So like you can be an influencer, and again, like
Right.
nothing against being influencers. So you can be an influencer,
nothing
you can
against them.
be, but like that's your, 15 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, whatever. But like, what is next? Like, there's gonna be, for every influencer, there are 50 more gearing up to become influencers. So it's like, what's next? Are you gonna just be an influencer for the next 50 years? No offense, but for the most part, people are gonna get tired of like,
I mean, you can.
you
if
can,
you study it,
people do, but again, like, you know, because I follow people, you know, who are more mature age, and
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it. But if we're being real, like, first of all, those are people who did the blood, sweat, and tears for years before, and now they've gained that reputation.
Right.
Where I even care to follow your Instagram, right?
Mhm.
They've gained that reputation, and they got themselves involved in other things to kind of keep their place in this industry. They didn't just say, I'm just going to be an influencer like for life. So
with no
like,
direction.
right, like, let's keep it real. Like, that's very rare that you're going to be an influencer for 50 years. Like, it is. So it's like, what are you doing to kind of like keep your spot, basically? Like, are you evolving? Like, are you growing? Are you, you know, new challenges? Because it's like, yeah, if you're just like, I'm gonna be this, and this is, you know, this is for everything. This is for business in general too. Like, you have to constantly be growing and, you know, challenging yourself, because times is changing. And right.
Right.
And so if you want that longevity, you've got to change with it. You've got to evolve with it. And even more so in this industry, like even more so in this fashion and beauty industry. So yeah, I think more people, like you said, need to be transparent about it. I'm very transparent about it. But can we go back to Ezra talking about, I need to go back to the make me a model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to go back to that, because this is my thing with that, right? That I'll use the word irritate. Yeah, I'll use that word.
Yeah.
What irritates me about that is because, you know, we've probably all experienced some level of that in this industry. And I'm like, where is the wherewithal? I don't know what term I'm looking for you. Like, where is that thing of, I would like to be a model, right? So I have done some research. I had my grandma and them take some pictures, give me a Polaroid, something, right? Like, right. And like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but this is what I've done so far. Like, show some initiative. I think Ezra just used that word. Like, show some initiative and stuff like that, and come correct, instead of just like, well, boom, I'm pretty, I'm cute.
But that's what a lot of it is, though. That's what a lot of it is, though.
But I'm sorry, but there's like, for every person who DMs Ezra, there's 20 other cute people.
No, that's a fact. But I think people don't know what they want to do. So it's like, if somebody keeps telling me, like, for example, everybody all the time was like, oh, you should model, you should model, you should model. I have no inkling to model, but people want to be a model. So they're like, oh, well, my mom and my grandma and my uncle and all them, my whole family told me I should model my whole life. He's an agency. Boom, make me a model. No, sis, it don't work like that. But they don't know if they really want to be a model. Like, that's taking what somebody else has told you to do and doing that. Now, for the people who do want to be a model, I just feel like that's questioning to me, because if you really want to be a model, please don't tell me you slide in nobody's DM saying, make me a model.
Exactly.
Like, where do I start? You know what I'm saying? Like, even like he said, a simple introduction, like, hi, I'm Andrea. I see that you run an agency. I don't even know, like, if this is the next step. I don't know if it's something that I should be doing before I even get in contact with you, but how do I even embark on this journey of being a model? Like, how do I get there? I think that would be a more approachable conversation than make me a model. Like,
and it's so funny that you mentioned that, because the majority of my conversations are starting off with, hi, I'm Ezra Jones, the founder and CEO of the thestate. It is encouraged that when reaching out for the first time to make an interjection, you know, and it's like, I really want to say, how about you tell me who you are and introduce yourself, you know, but of course that's a little rude and a little abrupt, but you know, it's like, that's most of my conversation is just trying to craft the best way to say, make an introduction, you know, that's, to me, that's common sense, right? You know, hi, hello, because we're strangers. I don't know you, you don't know me. You know, like
and you work close with the agent, so you would think that you want that relationship. Like you would think that you want that rapport instead of just make me a model. Because if you message me saying make me a model, like I'm not interested in having no conversation with you, because I feel like every conversation we have,
no response.
You getting left on red, sis, because everything you're gonna think that I have to do all the work. I'm here to aid you, not to do everything for you. I'm here to aid you. So I just
But also what I think, especially again in this industry, in the fashion and beauty industry, like you said, like they think you're gonna do everything, but people don't understand. Models, designers, all of us, right? Like we are our brand, like we represent ourselves, right? So it's like you could be the cutest, most handsome, sexiest, whatever it is, but if you can't sit around a table and have intelligent conversation, negotiate contract, yada to the yada to the yada to the yada, like you're literally just a pretty face. And like I said, there's 50 behind you who are pretty faces. Like the industry has evolved enough at this point where it's not enough to just be a pretty face. It's just
it's gonna get taken advantage of.
Right. Like it's just not enough because, you know, like you could, like it's just not enough. I think that's something that people haven't realized has shifted. Like if I can't sit here and have an intelligent conversation with you, a business meeting, and like sit here and like talk to brands and stuff, and like, I'm sorry, like I'll go get the next pretty face.
Yeah. More people out there who are doing the research behind it. Like,
and Ezra spoke to something earlier about you can tell who has the hunger behind it. And I think that's what it is when you're truly hungry behind it, because it's your passion. You can't see yourself doing anything else. You're going to take that time to invest in yourself, whether that's really taking courses and implementing what you learn, whether that's really trying to find a mentor, someone who can teach you the business. You know, you're going to really put your time, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I think the other side of the hunger that we're experiencing when, you know, having conversations with others is the desperation. You know, I want to be out there. I want to be famous. I want to be known. I want to get brand deals because my favorite influencer does that, and that's what I want to do.
Right.
So you're not thinking about building a relationship. You're not thinking about any of the logistics behind it. It's, hey, make me a model. This is what I want to do. Don't you see me? Like, I'm ready. And I think it's the desperation that shoots a lot of people in the foot when really trying to do something, because no one's going to take you seriously. Even if it is your passion, you're marketing yourself from introduction the wrong way just due to lack of introduction.
Right.
I'm gonna give like an actual like real life experience, and it's actually one of my models. I won't say their name, but they were getting sort of kind of frustrated because they're like, no, I don't want to be, doing any more TFP stuff, which is basically, as we know, free work. And I was like, okay, I understand that. I was like, but we also have to like build up your portfolio so it looks a certain way so that we can get to the point where we're doing this. And they brought, to me a brand that was not it was not aesthetically, to the tier level of what our agency represents. Mm-hmm. And they were really like, wanting to work with this brand. I was like, okay, well, I sent over, the contract for the designer and the photographer and the people who were in charge. And I was like, this is the model's rate, you're wanting for this time. These are the licensing fees. And the model was upset because, I was charging them licensing fees. And I was like, well, that's the way it works. Like if you're going to use the photos for a certain duration of time, like that's how you get paid consistently and sort of kind of get residuals. So that's the system. That's how it works. And they were upset and they're like, well, I really wanted to work with this brand because they felt like they were, basically not going to be able to get the job. And they ended up not getting a job because obviously that company didn't want to pay the licensing fees. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. I said, well, here's the thing. But then another company came by and they said, well, I don't want to be like this other company and me missing out on an opportunity. But then they were basically going to shoot for this other company for clothing. I was like, so let me get this right. Basically, a week ago, you told me you didn't want to do any more free work. You were upset at the fact that I sent over a contract, you were offering licensing fees, and now you're going to go another brand and do some free work, and you're mad that you possibly might miss out on this opportunity. to do free work when you just told me you didn't want to do free work? I said, first of all, the only reason why I would allow this brand, because this particular brand is actually a brand. You know, like they're well known. The aesthetic is great. We're actually going to place their work in your portfolio. That other brand, we're not going to, I don't care if you work for them or not. We're still not going to place their work in your portfolio because it didn't look good. You know, it's like, it's about the quality of work, and they're not representing that, and they're charging high prices. And then they're trying to tell me that they can't pay these licensing fees. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, you really have to think about it. It really has to make sense. And to the point of Devin of talking about that desperation, so many times people are just wanting to do like any and everything. I'm like, what I told, you know, our model is like, hey, you cannot do any and every single thing that comes to you. You have to do the right things. You have to find things that are in alignment with where you're going, where you see yourself, and what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Because you accepting everything is going to, you know, follow you for the rest of your life. Because if you do something and you're talking about pictures and imagery, once that's snapped and that's out in the world, it's out in the world. You know, like that's a reflection on you for all of eternity. So you really got to think about what you're doing in terms of building your portfolio and where you're going. So we had that conversation and they got it, but a lot of people, they just don't think about it. Like, oh, I just want to do everything. I want to be a model. I want to be, you know, as Rebecca said, I want to be Instagram famous. It's like,
that's their goal. That's what I'm saying. That's the goal. The goal for some of them is to be Instagram famous. What do you want to do? I want everybody to know my name. For doing what? And it's
what's your message?
But then you align yourself with a brand that's, you know, okay, but then let's say 5 years from now you want to align yourself with a brand that's a little bit, you know, whatever word we want to use, classy or whatever word we want to use, and they're just like, so about that, you know, like, it does, like Ezra said, like it does follow you, and it can easily and usually sooner than you think, like come back to bite you, you know, because you're not paying attention to who you're aligning yourself with. And it's like, y'all, the fashion beauty industry is not going anywhere. Okay. So like, if it's not this one, trust, like, like it's not going anywhere.
Then it's like, you're an agent though. So you came to this person for a reason, is what I'm thinking. Like, if you're coming to a person and saying, hey, I want, like when people come to me and they're like, hey, I want you to help me rebrand. You're trusting me with something because you're seeing the rebranding that I've done within my page. You're seeing my aesthetic. It's giving you something that you're like, okay, you know what? Like, I trust her eye in this. So if you're a model, since we're talking about models and stuff, if you're a model and you're coming to an agent, you would think that you're trusting him or her with whomever, like, what they're telling you to do. Like they're the expert in the industry. So it's like, I'm really not trying to be shady and make all these faces, but I can't help it. But like, you're trusting who you come to within the industry. If I'm saying, hey, can you do this for me? It's because I'm trusting that you know what you're talking about. So if you're telling me, like, in the way that you said you explained it to the model, like, you know, well, with this brand, it's this, and with this brand, it's this, like, you would think that would be like, oh, okay, like that, I get you. Like, not so headstrong to the point that it's just like, well, no, because in the industry as a period, you have to, your pride has gotta go. Your pride has got to go. And that sounds like pride to me. Like, you just want to know what's best for you. But if you know what's best, you can do it on your own. Like you have to remember that you came to somebody for a reason. Like, you need help because you're not out there. You're not where you want to go. They're trying to get you where you want to go. So trust them to get you there. And that process to get you there. Like, yes, he has this agency now. Great. But he worked his behind off to get to the agency. He didn't just wake up yesterday and was like, you know what? Yep, agency tomorrow. And now I got all these models. Like, no, like, you have to trust the process. They don't want to trust. They don't want to go through process. That's what a lot of people, they don't want to do. They don't want to experience process.
Yeah.
The process to them is too much.
the journey.
What is the process behind this? Yes, just like when you go fill out an application at a 9-to-5, you get an interview, you may have another interview, you may have another one with the whole
nowadays,
board.
I feel like you go through like 5 interviews.
Right. I always know whether or not someone is you know, like even like really interested or about it, because oftentimes like they'll ask me, you know, the process, we'll do the interjection process. And I was like, okay, well, go and visit our bio. I'll send the link to submit for consideration. And and you like, there's so many people that I personally have like reached out and scouted. So that means that I'm an agent, first of all. Not only that, but I'm the founder of the company. I'm personally reaching out to you. So that means I see something in you, and all you have to do is go and follow these steps. Ask me how many people actually complete the steps and go and submit. And there's so many people that don't submit. And I'm like, and they're like, but I want a model.
That's so, like, that blows my mind, because that happens to me too. I'm like, I have my hypothesis on this, because I'm like, okay, maybe it's because I'm not, you know, well, I'm not an agency, but like in your case, like maybe it's because I'm not like June Ambrose or Rachel Zoe or something. Like maybe that's why you're just like, oh, whatever, the CEO is reaching out to me, no big, you know. I was like, maybe that's why, because I'm like, but that blows my mind that the head of the company is reaching out to you, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, no. What?
And the craziest part about that, Rebecca, is like,
that's Ezra. Like,
the crazy,
just like they're the founders. What do you mean, just like,
right? Like,
and the crazy part, Rebecca, is like, you know, you mentioned like June Ambrose and Rachel Zoe, but it's like, but is June Ambrose and Rachel Zoe looking for them? You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're not looking for you.
Did they contact you?
Talk about it. You haven't talked to June.
Right. And you're probably not gonna talk to June, but
no,
you're probably not.
Because I went through I was doing like, when we first moved to California, I was going to do an internship with Rachel Zoe. I didn't speak to her.
Right.
I was talking to assistants. I didn't talk to her. So if she would have contacted me, oh, you better believe Fingers would have been moving. Fingers was moving quickly at the assistants. I'm not gonna hold you, but Fingers would have been moving extra quickly if I'm talking to the founder. Like, so it's the respect, like, because like I always say, and people be like, oh, you doing too much. I don't care. You should have booked me when you could afford me. Because at the end of the day,
there it is.
When I get to that level, that it's like, oh my gosh, the Andrea Wright. Yeah, remember when I was trying to style y'all? Like, remember when I was trying to like help because you wanted to be a model and I'm a stylist and I'm all about collaboration. So I'm trying to pair together. Like, remember when I was trying to get us both to the top, because I'm not a person that I want all eyes on me, and I want everybody to eat, is what I always say. So I was trying to do something to collaborate to where everybody could do something, but now inbox is going to be flooded because now, oh, the Andrea Wright is this big stylist and she's doing this and that, and now you want to work with me. But when I was trying to talk to you directly, you didn't see my dream and my vision. So it's just like, everybody is so hooked on celeb status, like celebrity status. Like, if you're not celebrity status, they don't want to deal with you.
They assume that you're just whatever.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh no, you're not styling amigos, so you don't know. Like,
and it's the craziest thing too, because like I've told Rebecca all the time, like I remember starting my company, and I would, at the time, because I'm a behind the scenes person too, I didn't start like really getting in front of the camera and all of that until like my publicist, who's a close friend of mine, was like you really need to push this and get out there and all of that. So I took her advice, reluctantly, because as Rebecca knows, that's what we do. Reluctantly, we're like, no. I guess I gotta get out there and show my face, but I'm gonna do it, whatever. So started getting out there, but before that, I just would always be like, I'm the director of public relations. I've had some people that have left me on red, had some people where I've had interactions with, and then all of a sudden they start, seeing what we're doing and the fact that we have worked with celebrities and the quality of work that we're putting out. It always cracks me up the fact that I live, in Venus, Texas, a little remote city, and people think that our agency is in New York because of the quality of work that we produce.
Come
And
on.
I literally had a stylist who was actually in New York, and her work is like amazing. And she was like, I said something about Texas, and she's like, "Wait, you're in Texas?" I was like, "Yeah, Venus, Texas." And she's like, "Wait a minute, this whole time I thought you were in New York." I was like, "No," and she's in New York and from New York, so it was
Yeah.
the craziest, thing. And so oftentimes I would tell people I'm director of public relations. They would leave me on red. And I can't tell you, almost in every instance, those people would circle back around and be like, "Oh," then I was like, "Well, actually, we've already, met in introduction. And so it's going to be, you know, a no from
Right.
me." But,
Right.
but thank
Right.
you. We've already,
Thank you.
interacted, but no, thank you, like you told me
Yeah.
no, and now it's my turn to return the favor. So,
Yeah.
but it's always just very
Yeah.
interesting because people are just sold on like this celebrity status, and I've always been a person about relationships, and it's always about people, and people are the commodity. And I always talk about, like, relationships will get you into doors that money never can or will. And the reason
Absolutely.
why is because if people like you, they will bend over backwards for you. You could have $1 million, and if I just don't like you, it's never going to be good enough or enough amount of money for me, because I
Right.
don't like you. I don't care for your ethics. I don't care for your values. It's not gonna,
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna mow over me because of my core values, which is money. Me going, "Oh, you can just throw a couple of dollars at me." I'm like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna be your
No.
puppet." Like, that it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way.
That's exactly what it is. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. We were talking about that earlier. Devin and I were
Yeah.
actually talking about that earlier. Like people are like, they will quickly be a puppet for money. Like, and
Right.
that's just not us. So it's a no for me. Like, and
Right.
it's definitely a no for me, because I'm like, it's no amount of money in the world can make me deal with a stress of me not, like you said, not caring for you as a person or your values or what you do. And it's literally, be great, do well, and I hope everything
Right.
works out for you. It's
Right.
no ill will, but at the same time, it's just like you saying, "Okay, I'm gonna give you $1 million today," is not going to make me take on the stresses of having to work with someone that I know that I have to do this every day, and I don't really care for you. I can't do that.
Right.
Kind of a
I
mindset,
can't do
not
that.
9 to 5. Like, if
Yeah.
that's gonna be your mindset, just stay at your job. Like, don't even worry about entrepreneurship, because that's typically the mindset that I've seen at work. We're gonna deal with this. We're mad when we get up. No, when we go to bed before the
Okay.
next day, I'm already upset that
Already mad.
I have to get up and go to this 9 to 5, and I'm getting micromanaged. I'm just kind of being shifted this way and that way. I don't like the
Yeah.
environment. I don't like what they ask me to do with the customers, because there's a lot of business that are, don't have the integrity, like Ezra said. And
No.
yeah, and you're willing to stay there and put up with it until retirement because they're paying you, and you know that it's consistent, and you know that it's not going anywhere. And that's never been the case for me. So, jobs that I've left, big corporate jobs, it's like, you crazy. You crazy for leaving. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
putting up with that. Like, I'd rather invest my money into myself. And there's plenty of things that I can do. Plus, I just feel like I'm just too creative to just, do this.
Right.
And I'm not growing in any way. But yeah, like, that's just the mindset. Just stay there because you're getting paid and you're gonna deal with it. And I can't do it.
And Devin, like, that speaks to like the desperation that you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
right? Because I've
Mhm.
I've honestly been in that situation where I worked retail my whole entire life, for the majority of the time, and I was sort of kind of afraid to venture out. As we see, I didn't venture out too far, but but like, I remember having sort of a screaming match between me and another assistant at the time, and we were both just like going through some stuff. And I was like, "Look, I only have a high school education. I don't know what I'm going to do, and all of this, like, it's not easy for me, and all of this, just because I felt like I was pigeonholed in this trap of having to work for this company and just go through the motions."
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that, like, they just have to go through the motions, and that's like a place of like lack rather than abundance, and realizing that, what,
Absolutely.
just like that company is sort of kind of trying to wave this little trinket over you, like they're the only
Yeah.
source, and they're always quick to say, "Oh, we got 1,500, 1,000 employees that are willing to sign up." Well, there's other companies too. Shocker. You know, like
Right.
I don't have to put up with this, you know.
Right.
He's speaking.
No, facts.
Like I'm
Church
feeling it. Like,
service to me, because I'm big on that. Like, I'm big on that. If the relationship isn't there, I can't do it. I can't force it. I can't be in it. I'm gonna let you know that I'm gonna have to bow out gracefully
yeah.
because I can't do it. Because, like you said at the very beginning, like, I'm not gonna put myself in a predicament where I'm gonna come out of what I and how I will respond personally to
Right.
a situation or something, because this is just truly who your character is. This is truly what what you value, and our values and our characters do not align. So we're not going to work well together. It's no point in trying to make something work that isn't going to work. And so it's like, I'm clear on that. Like, I love light, I love abundance, I love peace and my peace of mind. And if the relationship isn't there, I can't do it. So you can wave any trinket to whomever else, but it's not gonna work for me. Like, that's not gonna make me stay. Like you said, shocker, it's other companies out here. Like, y'all think y'all the only, they always think that whatever company you work for, like, that's the only one. I've been in retail this long. I haven't worked for you for 5 years. So like, like, I've been at other companies. Like, they don't think that. They don't think that at all. They're like, no, we're it. We're it.
Yeah. I think,
and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, you know, down people who are in those 9 to 5s, because if that's truly like, if you're happy doing that, by all means, because it's just hard trying to be a CEO and trying to run your own business. So it's hard being an entrepreneur, and you know, like we spoke of earlier, like we are not the ones to try and glorify it, because it is not it's not quite yet glorious. It is hard work.
Right.
And you know, you do have to put in a lot of time. So but yeah, definitely, you know, like you know, kudos to those individuals that that's truly their heart and that's what they want to do. And some people are just, you know, they're sort of kind of like they are just workers, and that's all they aspire to do, and that's absolutely okay. But for those of us who are not, and for those of us who are like aligned with the terms of, you know, how we're treated and we care about those things, that just doesn't, you know, work for us. And either way, whether you're, you know, a worker, an entrepreneur, like it's important to have like alignment, because I'm certain that if your values didn't align, you would not be at that job for years and years on end. You know, there's some value that they have that you're like, okay, even though they have all this extra stuff, well, maybe for you the value is money, and so maybe
that's all I'm saying.
you like,
that's all the time. They're like, no, I'm getting paid $25 an hour. I can't leave. But it's like nothing else matches up. Nothing else matches up.
Right.
Pain.
That's it. I'm here, Ezra, I'm just here to get a check. Okay. I'm like, you know,
and if that's your value system, you know, like I get it. So and we all have different values, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just making sure that whatever your values are, that they align. And you know, that's a big part of like minding your business and like creating that structure is one, knowing what your own personal values are, and then knowing what your message is that you're going to deliver out to the world. And a lot of people don't do that. You know, so many people have companies and they don't even have like handbooks or, you know, anything to guide you along, to teach you how to, you know, step in this position. It's like, oh, I want to hire 10 people. And then you're upset because they're not doing things exactly how you want them to do it. It's like, well, did you give them instructions? Did you give them the proper tools to be able to do that? Well, do they have a handbook? No. Well, did you train them? No. I just want them to do this.
Right. And it's like, what? Can you make it make sense for me? Like, can you?
Are you as the owner even doing that? No. But you want them to do that. It's like
I can
talk about it, please.
Yeah, like I can speak to that personally, because it's like, you know, we're all CEOs on here, but like I have led people, I'm leading people now, obviously, but like that's something I even have to get on myself for. And we had a conversation about this last week about like, have I done my job as like the leader to communicate everything you just said, like to lead, to communicate effectively, to give proper expectations to all of that stuff, because we all know like the success of the organization comes from the top, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, like, I'm gonna keep it real. Like there could be days where you're like, all right, they can all go. But they can all go. But at the same time, it's like, as a leader, you have to look back at yourself and be like, okay, so what part of this is on me? Like,
right. Yeah.
Right.
what did I not do correctly? Is that even grammatically correct or whatever? Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Because
No.
yes, don't get me wrong, there are people who just aren't acting right. Like there are, but
Right.
at the same time, like a lot of times it's like, no, let's look at me first.
Right.
Mhm.
And like, what can I do better,
Mhm.
to kind of avoid this and stuff? Because a lot of the
Yeah.
time, if you have people like these two lovely people who are genuine and who are really like wanting to show up and do things well and everything like, and who actually, have the heart for the organization too, most of the time it's it's something somewhere that just needs to be shared,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think that a
It
lot
needs to
of
just be communicated
yeah,
on.
I think that a
Yeah.
lot of leaders should be a little bit more transparent about that and be honest. Like, you're not perfect. And I think
Right.
like, just because
Right.
you're in leadership, okay, all right. Genuinely, some people shouldn't be in leadership. I don't believe I'm one of those
Correct.
people. Like, I really do think I'm I'm okay. Some people should not be in leadership. But having said that, just because you're a leader does not mean that you're gonna get it right all all the time.
Once you
Right.
go
Yeah.
It's okay
Right.
for you to be
Right.
growing as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I think that we need more
Right.
transparency in that as well.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I
Uh,
agree. Because as
give
you said,
yourself
like we're all like four different, CEOs here, but at the end of the day, like you learn everybody's aspect is like different. Everybody doesn't think the same. Everybody doesn't hear stuff the same. Everybody doesn't act on things the same. So like just how they teach us, like, everybody's learning technique is different. It's the same with like everybody's mind and concept as a whole. Like it's different. So everyone who pretty much knows me knows that I'm super big on planning. So like I said, before I hopped out there and jumped in on a business, I don't have people that I can hire yet, but I'm a planner. So when I am ready to hire, the workbook is together. Because I'm like, this is what I want them to do. This is what they need to know. This is what they have to do. But everybody doesn't think like that. Hence Rebecca speaking on it. That isn't like, she's not in that mindset 24/7. So it was just like, okay, what do I need to change in this moment? But other people may be like, well, I would have been did that first, but that's their mindset. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you have
Right.
to
Yeah.
give grace to everybody in where they are, because
Right.
you
Yeah.
don't know their structure of how they communicate, of how they think, of how they work. So that has to be communicated. And like you said, it's the transparency behind it all. People need to be transparent on that, because 9 times out of 10, they're not. Again, it's people that should and should not be doing a little bit of everything that people be involved in. Like everybody's not meant to be a leader. Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not meant to be a CEO. But like Ezra said, when you're aligned for this, like, and like, we say often, when you're graced for this, when this is something that you're called to do, like you have to look at you. You have to be
Right.
able to look at you before you can point the finger and look at anybody else and say, you're not doing, because
Right. Yeah.
even in the 9 to 5 realm with me, that was my issue. You're asking me to do stuff that you don't do for your own business. Make it make sense. You want me to go out here and do all of this stuff, but you don't even do that. But you want me to do it? Nah, that's not for me. Like, I can't do that, because I don't think that as a leader within me being a leader, that I don't do that to my people. Like, whoever is going to be my assistant, I'm going to show you what I do, and what I want you to do, so that everything is a well-oiled machine. Everything can work effectively. Like, I can't expect more from you than I do. Like, this is my
Right. Yeah.
business. So what are you like, this is not, it's not, you don't want to go into it with a corporate mindset, in the sense of like how typical 9 to 5s work, where like corporate just like hounds out all of this stuff, and you just have to do it. That's why
Right.
I walked out of a 9 to 5, because relationship matters to me. So it has to be relationship. I'm going to treat you with respect. I need you to treat me with respect. I'm going to talk to you like I have some sense. I need you to talk to me like you have some sense. If you having a moment, that's fine. I have no issue with us having a conversation, but let's not be disrespectful. Let's not talk down on people, like
Right.
that's common courtesy. Like, to us, I feel like this is common sense, but like people may be watching this like, what in the world? But it's like, you will not believe what, I mean, you've heard the stories, like you will not believe what we experience as CEOs of people that it's just like common sense just was never your language, huh? Like you were never taught that, like never taught to speak common sense. So it's just like, no, you have to speak on these things and be transparent about it, because it happens.
Yeah.
And let's not act like it doesn't, because it does on a daily.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been really great dialogue, and I think that there should be way more transparent conversations like this. And like, I think like I want to like end with, I don't want this to come across as like we're like just fussing at everybody, because we're not.
Right,
We're
right,
not just
right.
fussing at y'all. We're not just like do this, do that. Honestly, it is coming from, I think you're getting a lot of different perspectives here. You're getting CEOs, so CEOs of companies, CEOs of, in the industry. You're getting people who've actually worked in the industry. So you're getting that perspective as well, because some of us have worked in the industry and stuff like that. And then you're getting years, longevity in this industry. So you're getting a lot of different perspectives. So take this like as a resource, as a, as a learning tool, because we're here, Worthy is here to help you all be better, and you all, navigate this industry and not make some of the mistakes that we, like, I'll speak for myself, that I even have made in this industry starting out. So yeah, so please don't like take it as, oh, they just fussing at us.
And the most important part too is like to really like just take it in, and but to apply it, because it's not enough that we talk about it. It's not enough to just like listen to it and be like, oh, no. Like you gotta actually like apply it and put it into action. And keep in mind, like every single one of us on this, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but we're all human. Imagine that. So like we all make mistakes too. Like we all have our challenges that we're growing and we're working through. And there's, again, like Andrea said, like we have our days too, so sometimes we're having a moment. So we're still learning as well. And so it's absolutely okay with that. We're just more transparent about the fact that we're still learning, we're still growing, and we're going to take things as well and apply them as we grow and learn as well. So it's really important to just always like reevaluate and to reapply those lessons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not, don't take it as a fussing, but as encouragement, like to move forward with whatever it is that you're doing. If you're a 9 to 5, or if you're wanting to start a business, it's just literally giving you the transparency behind it all, the ins and outs of just how this industry is, and how any business like venture that you'll walk in as a whole, as Worthy is going to be transparent. So like, we're going to give you the real behind what is going on, like behind the scenes. So never is any of the videos to be a fuss. It's just insight on what happens on a daily, and it's encouragement, so that you don't walk into business and entrepreneurship thinking that it's going to be like sunflowers and daisies every day. Like, it's just not. And so, just take that and move forward with whatever you're aligned to do. So
right.
I will say,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I will say too, like, she mentioned sunshine and daisies, but the biggest growth happens after the rain. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And we just want to really encourage to build a relationship with yourself. That's one thing that I just really stress is, if you're having difficulty finding which direction to go, and you kind of feel like you need to just break out of your current situation, and you have that desperation, just truly hone and go inside and build a relationship with self, and everything else will just kind of map out itself. And of course, in other videos we have steps on that, so I just don't want to give a blanket statement. But yeah, just figure yourself out first, and then everything will come with at an easier rate when trying to do something moving forward within 9 to 5 business, whatever you're doing. Yeah, so I think this is something that we're going to continue. What you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, Worthy likes to talk, so
Yeah.
this is what we do. So we're gonna keep doing this. But I do want to thank, of course, as always, the Worthy side, Devin and Andrea, but especially thank you to Ezra. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for being part of our Worthy family. All the things. We appreciate you.
Thank you so very much, guys. And it was a pleasure meeting you, Devin and Andrea. I appreciate it.
Nice
And
meeting
Rebecca,
you.
well, we're like homies, Rebecca.
Of course. So you're not getting rid of me. But no, all right. Well, thank you all. And thank you guys for watching. And we will chat with you soon.